welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. Let's follow. Djibouti protects its coral ecosystem after a tanker grounding. Rescue operation successful. And on the international scene, Arctic is facing damage in Marrakesh earthquake in Morocco. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. A high-level virtual meeting brought together policymakers from the Arab region in Beirut, Lebanon, for the sixth regional review of the International Conference on Population and Development. At the heart of this meeting was the Minister of Women and Family, Madam Muna Usman Aden, who highlighted a proxy axis of the national gender policy of the ministry, the empowerment of women. The initiative aimed to bring together policymakers from the Arab region to share their countries' experiences, thereby highlighting their achievements and the challenges they face in integrating population and development issues in their public policy. During her speech at the virtual conference, the Ministry of Women and Family emphasized one of the priority areas of her minister's national gender policy, PNG, namely the empowerment of women. She stressed that this approach aimed to improve the quality of life of the population in general, while particularly targeting the situation of women and girls. She also addressed the challenge that will have to be faced in the future of this area. Besides the minister, our notable participants in this virtual conference included Mrs. Aisha Jama, head of the office of UNFPA, as well as her staff. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Family, Mrs. Anisa Hassan Bahdon, was also present, alongside the technical advisor for the Arab world, Mr. Hassan Rubah, and the director of the Ministry Gender Observatory, Mrs. Shukri Hussein. Following the receipt of a dozen distress signals from the Tanzanian flag tanker RD-1, which ran aground near a coral reef east of Musha Island on September 16, 2023, the Djiboutian authorities immediately launched relief operations aimed at assessing the situation and minimizing environmental risks. The RD-1 have departed from the port of Hamra Sharjah, United Arab Emirates, bound for the port of Hudayba, Yemen, with a planned step over at the port of Djibouti for routine inspection. Unfortunately, the ship deviated from its intended course while attempting to reach the Djiboutian port Anchorage, resulting in it running aground on a coral bank located in a protected seabed area. Upon receipt of the distress signal, the Djiboutian Coast Guard established a security zone around the vessel in order to prevent any immediate risk of maritime pollution. The complex operation to refloat the ship, carried out in collaboration by the post authorities and the Djiboutian Coast Guard and the National Navy, were crowned with success on September 19 without any fuel leak likely to cause marine pollution observed. However, the tanker caused significant damage to the coral reef of Mush Island, a marine protected area. The efforts from the Djiboutian Coast Guard inspected the coral reef after the refloating and were able to see the extent of the damage suffered by this precious ecosystem following this incident. And now, shifting towards Egypt, where the ambassador, Mr. Ahmed Ali Bari, permanent representative of Djibouti to the League of Arab States, participated Friday evening in a graduation ceremony of the Arab Academy of Science, Technology, of Maritime Transport. The event, which took place on September 15, honored the graduates of the new student classes of the prestigious institution. This graduation ceremony was an opportunity to celebrate the success of high school graduates from Alexandria and Alman, studying at the Arab University within the Academy of Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport. His Excellency Ambassador Ahmed Ali Bari was accompanied during this ceremony by Mr. Mohammed Darar Dirir, the Financial Director and Administrative Advisor to the embassy, thus demonstrating the support and importance given to education and training by Djibouti. The event not only celebrated the academic success of the students, but also strengthened ties between Djibouti and the Arab Academy of Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport, and within the framework of bilateral relations between Djibouti and Egypt. The Guled Stadium was the scene of a ceremony marking the start of an essential training course on doping prevention led by renowned local experts. Among the eminent personalities were Abshir Hassan, Director of Sports at the Secretary of State for Sports and Djibouti's representative on the regional anti-doping organization, as well as Faisal Abdurrahman, former Djibouti representative to ORAD and president of the Djiboutian Judo Federation. The two-day training course is specifically aimed at national team coaches, national technical directors, federation presidents, sports press representatives, and members of local sports associations. The Secretary General had the honor of officially inaugurating the event and expressed her satisfaction at the holding of this training course. She stressed the crucial importance of this initiative of the beneficiaries, in particular for federations involved in international and regional competitions. The Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, in collaboration with IGAD, organized a workshop this morning at the Sunny Hill Hotel to validate the report on the evaluation of pollutions in coastal and member states of IGAD. The workshop will last 4 days at the Sunny Hill Hotel in the Arta region. The workshop was chaired by Mr. Dini Abdullah Umar, Secretary General of the Ministry of the Environment and Sustainable Development, in the presence of Mr. Elmi Buh, Chairman of the Regional Council of the Arta region. Officials from the Ministry of the Environment and the Ministry of the Interior took part in the workshop to validate the report on the inventory pollutions. The aim is to examine and discuss the contents of this report to ensure its conformity with Djibouti's international commitments. The prefect of the Ali Sibih region, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Bonita, presided over the opening ceremony of a new health post at the Galili border post this morning. On his arrival, the prefect, accompanied by the president of the regional council, Sharmanki Hassan Alale, and deputy Abdi Khairi Buh, was welcomed by the director general in interim, Dr. Ibrahim Midian Kidane. This ninth health post in the Ali Sibih region has a large pump and supplies basic medicines to community pharmacies at a very affordable prices, 100 to 800 Djiboutian francs. The aim is to bring medicines closer to the rural population. In this way, the treatment of malnutrition and routine vaccinations for children under the age of 5 will make it easier for people to travel the chief town for vaccination. Heavy rains have been drenching in the Ali Sibih region for some time now. The rainfall is certainly significant according to the water spots pouring down in the town. The last few days have been exceptionally rainy in Asajok. In the capital, the town of the Ali Sibih, the population have seen the scorching heat reduced. Heavy rainfall over the past few days have benefited the land. As part of his first interactions as the prefect of the Obakh region, Mr. Musa Adan Migani, accompanied by a large delegation, including the president of the Obakh Council, undertook a visit to the localities. The delegation was warmly welcomed by the sub-prefect, Mohammed Hassan, as well as by the elders of the local population. The meeting was held in the locality where the local chief opened the session by welcoming the prefect and his delegation. Committee members then took the floor to share their concerns among the grievances raised by the population. Prefect Musa Adan expressed his gratitude for the warm welcome given to him. The visit marks the beginning of a new era under the leadership of the prefect, who is committed to working closely with local communities to improve their quality of life and resolve the challenges they face. In our regional news, we move to Somalia, where the second phase of the withdrawal of African Union troops from Somalia has begun. The Union said on Monday the withdrawal follows a timetable for handing over security to the country's authorities, which are battling Al-Qaeda's East African affiliate, Al-Shabaab, based in Somalia. Last year, the United Nations Security Council unanimously approved a new African Union transition mission in Somalia, known as ETMIS, to support Somalis until their forces assume full responsibility for the country's security by the end of 2024. From Somalia to Morocco, where architects assess the damage and workers remove rubble in the historic Medina of Marrakesh, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The old town was hard hit by Friday's earthquake. Many of the Median's buildings are made of adobe. On Thursday, Morocco announced the launch of an aid program to support and rehouse the inhabitants of some 50,000 buildings damaged by last week's devastating earthquake. Well, but this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.